Video 2, the business failure. Like I said, the best day of my life, part 2. So, as I was saying, we were struggling and we realized that the business is going to fail. Why did we? Because we were doing everything we knew and drivers still left us, staff was still leaving us, we couldn't stop them. There's nothing more we could do to scale the business higher to stop the drivers and the staff leaving us. We did everything we knew to push the business up, bring the advertising and try to grow the business, and nothing was working. So that's how we come to the conclusion that the business will go and stop at a level where the drivers are only here because they haven't got a choice. They're making more money. We'll be stuck holding a can. These drivers are making their money, and we'll end up with carrying a baby that's dying. And not only that, it's not going to give us what we hoped for when we started the business, but actually it's going to take away the little freedom and the time we had left. And not only that, we're never going to be able to get what we want out of this business for our families, but the little time we do have with our families, now that's gone. Now, what do? Do we let it die and then go back to working for someone else again? Question now every day was becoming, it's going to happen. It's only a matter of time. How long are we going to carry on holding this company together that if we dropped it and cut our losses and moved and let it shut down and die and go back to working for somebody else, at least we'll be able to make reasonable money again. Okay, million things we'll not get, but at least we'll get a little bit more than what we're getting now. At the moment, we lost all of our time. All of our savings are gone. We bought the company. Everything's gone. And things is going down and down. And now we've got to put so much hours in this, covering the staff shifts, that we've got no time left to give to our families. And even then, we weren't making enough money ourselves on the road because there was no staff left. So this is when I started looking, oh my God. And it was only, I think it was a matter of month, 2 months before we would have said, you know what, I think it's time that we cut our losses and just call it a day. It hasn't worked out. We thought we knew all we needed to know to make this run. We bought a running concern. Didn't start from the scratch, and we were not at all expecting this. It was over. The business had failed. Now we were looking for a buyer to come in, to give us a few pennies that he will, to get this loose around our necks, off our necks, because we were going to make a 100% loss, £30,000. I don't know what to do. That was the plan now, to try and get another buyer in, to try and buy this business off us, so we can go back to driving. Didn't have a choice. That was it. Sad. Not just that the business had failed, but forever we're going to have to work for somebody else because we did what we thought was best, and we think the only thing we knew how to, i.e. run our own cab company. We don't know anything else. I'm going to have to go back and work for somebody else because £400 or £500 a week was better than the headache I got now. I'm not making that money. I'm spending no time with my family, and I picked up a debt of £10,000, which is my share of the loss. Sat down on the internet, doing research as to how to do advertising. Leaflet delivery is what we knew. The realization that the business has failed and I've got to go back to working for somebody else was concrete. There's no getting away from that. I just can't wait to get out of the hole I'm in now. Just go back. As much as I didn't want to. but I didn't have a choice. Didn't have a choice. So, sat down on the internet, doing research. Maybe we're not advertising right while we're waiting for this buyer to come through. I put in the keyword, how to advertise. And on the right hand corner, I see a little banner ad in a box. Most conventional advertising does not work. So what? That's the opposite of what I'm looking for. I clicked it. Curiosity. I delved into it, spent about half an hour reading, and it turns out that the advertising that I'm doing actually does not work. That's what this guy is trying to claim. I never knew that before. Then I read more about it as to, well, I didn't believe any of it, right? Because I was doing it. How can this advertising, putting leaflets through people's doors, not work? I mean, mind you, we did everything we knew. We even advertised on the front page of the free paper that was going through people's doors. 100,000 copies a week were going in, and we had a front page ad on that to save our business. So there's no excuse that people didn't see the ad. 50p off if you use this voucher as well, or a pound, I think it was 50p off we offered on your fare, or a pound off if you use this voucher. So we knew the advert was going through. We were doing leaflet delivery on top of that through people's doors. Pound off if you use this card. When you need a taxi, everybody needs taxis on the weekends, right? So we did everything. Even after that, business was failing. So I look into it, and after reading, I said, my God, the fact that this guy is claiming it doesn't work, I wouldn't have believed any of that. But the fact that it hasn't worked for me, that's why I'm on the internet looking for a cure before somebody buys us out, hopefully. I couldn't argue with him. Most conventional advertising does not work. And I wanted to say no to him for a reason that I didn't know any other way of advertising a business than the one I was using. So if the one I'm using isn't working and the one you're claiming it ain't gonna work, what else am I supposed to do? Not knowing what else I'm supposed to do forced me to think that he's wrong. But the fact that I was failing after doing the advertising, which was not working for me, proved that he was right. I was stuck. I can't refute his claim as much as I wanted to, because it made me angry that he's right. And the evidence that he's right was in my failure. My own business was failing. I was doing the conventional advertising and it was not working, and not enough work was coming through. So I had the evidence from my own experience. It's not working. And he's saying it doesn't work. So what he's saying is happening to me. How could I argue with that? Now let me bring you to why it was the biggest day of my life. This failure was the biggest day of my life, business life. It was the first time in my life I began to realize, as much as I didn't want to admit to it, this monster stuck inside me. Because you've done taxi driving for 5 years and your friends have done it for 15 and 20 years, collectively we've got 30, 40 years of experience amongst you, that's enough to run a cab company. Somebody knocked on my door in my head. If what I know and what my friends knew that causes the success of a taxi company, if our knowledge was correct, how come we failed? I began to question everything I knew about the business. It was my knowledge, my understanding, my experience of my business of driving a cab that made us three buy the company to think that that's all there is to it and we can do it, i.e. because I'm a good cab driver, I can run a cab company. Well, it cost me £10,000 and a lot of misery and a lot of family unhappiness and a future that literally died right in front of my face, and me having to go back to live a life of working for somebody else for the rest of my life was the evidence to prove to me that I actually did not know. And this actual final nail in the coffin, that conventional advertising does not work. Well, I'll say the final nail. There is another nail coming. And this was not the final one. I'm glad about that. Many people scream, shout, a failure. But I'm saying to you, it was the best day of my business life, the day I realized and the day I did fail. Because when I realized I actually did not know, that was the beginning of a new life for me. That was the first time I realized that not only that I don't know, but the 1% of the people that are truly successful in life, they've had to go through what I've just gone through. There must have been something about what they thought to be true that actually wasn't true, that took them to a journey to find out what the truth is. And that's when I went on looking for the truth. What has caused my failure? Business was gone, finished. Not knowing when I thought I knew caused my failure. Not knowing what causes the success of a business caused my failure. It was my belief that I knew when I didn't know caused my failure. The beginning of my success was me realizing that. The beginning of my success was me finding out, learning, what is the answer to this question? If I've used all I know, and I'm not alone, by the way, not only two other guy partners with me, we're not alone. The other companies were just managing. So what was keeping them afloat before I end this video? They've been in the business for years. They weren't new like we were new. So they staff didn't leave them, their drivers didn't leave them because it was normal for them to get the work they were getting. Staff and drivers left us because they were afraid of the new people. They didn't even give us a chance. And the drivers started overcharging the customers, and we started losing business. They wouldn't do that with the ready, steady companies that were already running for the last 10, 15 years. You've been working for a company like we were working for a cab company. Steady going, 30, 40 drivers. Everybody knows everybody. Nobody's going to leave. You've been working with the drivers and the management and the staff for the last 10 years. Why are you going to leave now? Where are you going to leave and go? They're making the same money, so why leave? That's why they were there. That's why they were still going, not because they knew anything different. They were doing the same advertising as us because drivers and staff were working with a company they were used to. Right? They had reasonable amount of work, but we were something new. Why work with somebody new? It's too risky. They started doing what they want. We didn't exactly be able to control the overcharging in time. And by that time, they put so many holes inside the business, the work was just pouring out. They were ripping the customers off. We were getting complaints. We were afraid to confront the drivers because they're going to leave us. They left us anyway. But before they left us, they damaged the business. That was it. It's all over. Chris showed me the way out. Chris was the light at the end of the tunnel. This is the guy who was the business mentor who I looked at to find out why this damn thing failed and what is it that I don't know. I'll explain that to you in video 3. What did I learn from Chris that made me realize what the real answer is, and what made me realize why did I believe everything I believed to be true? Well, I'll answer this one for you now. I thought, if I do everything these 10 companies are doing, why would I fail? I did all of that. That wasn't enough. Copying and modeling is not enough unless you know how it truly works, how the mechanics work. If you see somebody driving a car, you've just seen that. You try driving one if you've never driven one. Can you drive it? No. That's what we thought, because they can do it, we can do it. And the fact is, the 99% of the businesses that actually fail within the first 5 years, the new startups, new businesses, they fail because of the same reason I failed. They fall into the same trap that I fell into and my friends fell into. And the 10 other taxi companies that are around us, they fell into. They never go past 30, 40 cars because they do everything they know, and the company goes to a certain limit and it stops. We believe we know what makes our business a success when we actually don't know. That's what I learned from Chris. In the next video, I will talk about what did I learn from Chris that changed everything. The new beginning. What did I learn from him? That failure gave me a new hope. And by learning from him, Chris saved our dying baby. Chris saved 3 companies, 3 lives, me and my partners. He showed us a way how we could all save that dying company and give it a new life in the next video.